And we are back on air, ready for the CDIY Young Riders Freestyle to Music, sponsored by Rockwell Information Services. Our judges are at E, Vittorio Barba from the Philippines; at H, Eva-Maria Vint-Warmington from Estonia; at C, Maria Schwenneson from Australia; at M, Connie Murray from Australia; and at B, Sue Hobson from New Zealand. And our first competitor is Sienna Robinson from New South Wales, riding JW Limitless. And the horse is owned by Penny Cobbold.
Limitless is by Leasing out of Godiva and originally from New Zealand.
In the Young Rider test, it's a test basically of intermediate 1 level. The difference being that they only ride half pirouettes in Cantop. Otherwise, very similar to intermediate 1, which you've just been watching. So here's our shoulder in. And half pass right in the trot. Extended trot, covering the ground well. In a nice frame, across the short side. And now shoulder in right. Could be a little bit more bent around the leg. And
so
then
very good symmetry to the floor plan, and a repeat of what she did.
Here's collected walk. Need to be mindful of the walk rhythm.
Good change of the music to indicate the extended walk. See the theme of the music coming through. Always a good plan. Have a theme to the music, a cohesiveness to it. Let the music tell a story.
was a nice extended canter into the half pirouette. Again, I'd just say be mindful when you place those things together that you have an appropriate amount of straight line so that you go into the pirouette and come out of the pirouette to describe a half. And halt.
Sienna Robinson and JW Limitless. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Rockwell Information Services. They're based in Hornsby, New South Wales, and Rockwell Information Services provide software training and technology solutions to help business manage their digital systems more effectively. Communication platforms for organisational needs, IT solutions and support services, training, delivery and enabled services, helping organisers implement systems and reduce training cost while improving utilisation. So thank you to Rockwell Information Services.
We welcome our next young rider to the Young Riders Freestyle to Music, sponsored by Rockwell Information Services. Sophie Marschner from Queensland, riding Hilton TC. And the owner is Anne-Marie Rawlins.
Program says that this horse is by Brenton Woods out of Swazi. Schwenneson.
Quite a light moving, elegant horse. Again, nice balance in the plan. think most of the riders have now got the notice about symmetry being a good thing.
Just maybe that walk going away from the judge at sea there. Quite an interesting line, but quite difficult for that judge to give a really high mark because they can't really see it from behind. I would place that somewhere, and quite often those walks have this particular. It does actually. The extended walk has a coefficient of 2, and so I'd be looking to place that in a slightly different position to optimise maximum marks.
So it's needs to be a bit more collected for the half pirouette and stay softer into the bridle during it.
I think with the emphasis on harmony, I feel that there's been some confusion in how people have understood it. And it's still a requirement that the horses are in collected trot. They need to show an acceptance of the bridle, so the horse can still be in a dressage frame and show harmony, as well as power, expression, elasticity, suppleness. All of those things go into the harmony mark. And they still want to see all of the things that we're used to seeing, and I think there's been some confusion with some people that thinking that they're just going to leave the horse alone and it's all magically going to appear, and wonder why they don't get 80%. It's just my observation.
And I think it was emphasised strongly about harmony and, yeah, the interpretation of that.
I'm not talking about this horse in particular. I'm talking about all horses and the sport in general.
And nicely done by Sophie Marschner and Hilton TC.
The next combination circling the area is Fortune Cookie and Isabella Anderson from Queensland. Fortune Cookie by Fiji R out of Lucilla R. This horse was purchased in 2024 from a Queensland young rider. Isabella competed here for the first time in 2025 with two horses, a CDI pony and a CDI junior horse.
Which means she's only 16 or so. So they are 16 to 21, I think, this class. Years of age, I mean.
Quite a good beat to the music. Showing a consistent rhythm. Very fluid transition to the walk there at A.
It's got a lovely overtrack and freedom from its shoulders in this extended walk.
And a good way to showcase the walk where all of the judges can see it, because you really want to get optimum marks for that extended walk. It's a minimum of 20 metres and it's a coefficient of 2, so do it where they can see it.
Nice extension, needed to be collected more before she attempted the flying change. And that would have helped then keep it balanced through the corner and into the half pass. So 3-time circle on a very tight half circle immediately after the pirouette. So degree of difficulty high. And then it's up to saying whether the changes were good.
That's a shame. A bit of confusion there and a mistake.
Yeah, and I think they were meant to be 3s again.
We need a half pirouette to the right.
Sure, we need 2 times change.
Yeah. Isabel Anderson and Fortune Cookie. That's a shame that we had those mishaps through the canter work. Going along quite nicely till then.
And our next competitor in the CDIY Young Riders Freestyle to Music, sponsored by Rockwell Information Services, is Jazi French from Victoria, riding Syriana, and Syriana is owned by Samantha Thomas.
This is an air by Sir Donahoe. On day 4.
Good departure into canter.
Elegant combination. They both paint a very elegant picture in the arena.
Just could have a better connection or contact for a steadier, more consistent outline. You could go a little more sidewards in the half pass, even though they don't need to do a tight half pass. You'd like to see jumping sidewards as well as forwards. And I think a little better on the right half pass that we just saw. So 5 4s on the curving line. Similar curving line for the left, on the left side of, for the 3 times changes. Again, I'd just be commenting on the contact or harmony in the bridle. And that was Jazi French and Syriana. Our next competitor in the CDIY Young Riders Freestyle to Music is Shiva Wiedemann. Shiva is riding Hollands Bend Regalite. And Shiva is from New South Wales.
So this horse was purchased from Jane Bartram at Hollands Bend Warmbloods, and she's owned Reggie for 18 months. She's just finished year 12 and she's having a gap year to focus on her horses and their training. She's the CDI J team and individual at Sydney winner and the 2025 national champion at FEIJ level. So we wish them the best of luck in this test today.
And I think we had Hollands Bend Regalite as a mother of a dam of somebody else's horse.
We definitely did.
In another class, but I've just forgotten who that was. No doubt a Hollands Bend named horse. And so I suspect that Regalite's had a career as a broodmare, or as at least as a embryo producer. Beautiful looking mare. Nice change of bend from the left to the right into the half pass. Well positioned both times in both half passes.
Horse by Royal Classic out of Herta Queen, and that's an imported mare that Jane brought in, and she's produced some wonderful foals.
Well, let's hope she can try and find another spot to do the right canter pirouette, because the change of leg through the pirouette will be noted. So just took control in that first pirouette, and then quite a nice job on the left pirouette or half pirouette. And 5 nicely placed, balanced 4 times changes on the straight line. And again, both half passes in canter, well positioned, good outline. She needs to remember to try and fit in a right half pirouette.
Like there would have been
I think she's
going to change.
yeah. It's a learning curve, because this can be talked about afterwards when she's finished. There's been opportunity to do one.
Shiva, Wiedemann and Hollands Bend
Regalite.
I've practiced it so many times and I can never get it out. The owners gave me a lesson on it even.
sometimes that turns out to not be helpful. Anyway, she won't mind, I'm sure. It's a lovely mare, and we enjoyed the freestyle. And our next competitor in the CDIY Young Riders Freestyle to Music, sponsored by Rockwell Information Services, is Tia Rose Mckenzie from Middle Dural in New South Wales, riding Phenomenon.
This car is automatic, it's systematic, it's hydromatic. Why, it's greased lightning!
Let's go, girls. Come on. Feel like a woman.
And a very well constructed floor plan. Music for Tia. I want to see the collected walk a little bit more elastic. we see the repeat of the pattern. So good symmetry in her floor plan.
But if you're going to change from one bend to the other like that, it's got to be a clear change of bend. So a little bit too straight through the body in the shoulder end for my liking. Quarters leading in this half pass. Better now into the left one. And the canter in between those changes could just be a bit more ground covering. She makes it quite tricky having the pirouette or the half pirouette at the end of those line of changes. Degree of difficulty is good, but you've got to be mindful of keeping the technicality of the movement at its best.
Tia Rose Mckenzie and Phenomenon. And our next competitor is Emma Hutchinson from New South Wales,
riding Freshman R.
Freshman R is a gelding by Fiji out of Sunflower R. This horse yesterday was third in the qualifying individual competition.
Short change in one of the 3 times changes, which he more or less opened with, bar the extended canter. And then that was the half pirouette.
Getting some required elements out of the way early. And the canter. Very attractive looking combination. She's got both of her pirouettes ticked off. Both those half pirouettes do have coefficients on them, so if they don't come off, that is quite an expensive lot of marks. Emma achieving both of those.
Generally, freshmen are showing good contact, good carriage. Just needs to be more mindful, I think, of bend and suppleness for higher marks. And an update on the scores as we wait for the final two competitors in this class. And leading the way currently in a close-fought battle is Tia Rose Mckenzie and Phenomenon on 70.530. In second is Emma Hutchinson and Freshman R on 70.140. In third, Shiva Wiedemann on Hollands Bend Regalite on 69.380. And our next competitor in the Rockwell Information Services CDIY Young Riders Freestyle to Music is Angelina Thompson from New South Wales on Arnage Royal Edition.
So this gelding by Royal Classic. This horse yesterday was fifth coming into this competition, qualified fifth, with a 65.9, so I'm sure she'll be looking to ramp it up today. The 67% and second place on the first day of competition. So how are we going so far, Jill?
We've actually seen some quite nice positioning and bending from the half pass into the shoulder in. It seems to have been a bit of a common pattern to do half pass one way and change to the shoulder in the other direction or the other bend. But in Angelina's case, I'm enjoying the changes of bend. It's a horse with a good carriage, mostly throughout the movements. Pole is mostly the highest point and the nose generally just in front of the vertical. Could be, this is a moment where it could go a little bit more forward with its nose in the extended walk. Did some counter-canter through the short side there, very deep into the corners, managed to maintain it. This is a half pirouette in a kind of an interesting spot, and well done to Angelina in that it did come out on the same line it went in on. Oh, and here's the counter-canter. So, yep, it's a tight line. It's definitely showing a high degree of difficulty here. And we'll see the same pirouette, I'm guessing, or the same positioning. Yeah, good. The 3 times changes nicely executed as well. Oh, just needed to pause just a little bit to get in time with the music expanding into extended trot. It's got a big trot and it goes. And I think a well done freestyle.
Angelina
took lots of
Thompson
risks.
and Arnage Royal Edition.
we are up to our final competitor in this class and, in fact, for the show. So big moment for Rosemary Heagney from Victoria, riding MSJ Nemo.
To thank the sponsors of this class, Rockwell Information Services and Rock Info Platform. This is a gelding by Negro. Started his early life as a stallion and produced a number of foals. Imported from England, bred at Mount St John Stables and Breeding Barn. He actually won his class on the first day and was second yesterday coming into this competition.
Yep. Lovely overtrack. In that extended walk, could just be a little bit more energetic. You know, relaxation and energy don't always sound good together, but they're still needed. Purpose, yes. Just generally, by this stage in the competition, the horse is probably getting a little bit tired.
All of them.
And riders too, no doubt. But, yeah, I can only say I'd just like a little bit more impulsion in general throughout the whole of this otherwise very pleasant picture. Also she's made a good effort with the floor plan to be interesting, but also mindful of where things can best come off for the horse.
It's going to be tight at the top. We will see.
we're enjoying the ease with which Rosemary and Nemo are performing.
The overall picture.
Yes. Now, there was a little mistake there in those changes. But as I say, they are getting tired and nicely finished with a good halt. So good job from Rosemary, Heagney and MSJ Nemo. And while we wait for the final scores, and it will be close, I believe, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank, on behalf of every rider and owner at this show, I'd like to thank our event organisers, Kathy and Trevor Dury-Klein, and that they never get told thank you often enough. But it's an enormous workload, this show. And we are very grateful for their ongoing 10th year of doing this show. But also behind them are the judges, the grounds people, our sound people who, from our point of view here in the commentary booth, can't do anything without them. They keep us on track when we're getting a little bit tumbled for words. And then we have the Willinga Park team, who of course have produced the property to look as gorgeous as it possibly can. Our volunteers, our writers, our stewards, of course, who do an amazing job. And anybody else, the cameramen even doing the live stream, we thank them because we couldn't do it without them either. So thank you very much. And we hope you've enjoyed your time here at Dressage by the Sea.
I'd also like to thank you, Jill. It's been a wonderful couple of days. We've really enjoyed our time here at Willinga Park, and we look forward to doing it all again next year.
Exactly. Thank you, Christine. And so now there's the scores. We say a large, healthy congratulations to the whole of the young riders, but in particular to Angelina Thompson and Arnage Royal Edition with a lovely score of 72.205% in first place. And in second place, Tia Rose Mckenzie on Phenomenon on 70.530%. In third place, Emma Hutchinson riding Freshman R on 70.140. In fourth, Shiva Wiedemann on Hollands Bend Regalite on 69.380. In fifth, Rosemary Heagney and MSJ Nemo on 69.180. In sixth, Jazi French riding Syriana on 68.015. In seventh, Sophie Marschner riding Hilton TC on 67.940. In eighth, Sienna Robinson riding JW Limitless on 67.155. And in ninth, Isabella Anderson and Fortune Cookie on 63.920. Once again, thanks to our judges who've had a very big program for 4 days. And so have the writers. And we say thank you and goodbye.
I'd also like to thank